Hey, everybody. Welcome to People of Interest. Thank you so much for being here. This is actually our 1-year anniversary of doing the show remotely in lockdown. And I'm sorry that the pandemic has been going on this long. It's not my fault, but if you want to pretend it's my fault, that's okay. I've been, you can say I've been doing this pandemic just so I can keep doing this show remotely. Because otherwise you'd be out and having fun right now. Or not, maybe you're boring. It's okay. That's okay too. Anyway, thank you so much for being here. If it's your first time watching the show, or perhaps you just like a refresher, I've come up with the descriptions for 3 very interesting characters. Waiting in the wings right now, I have 3 very interesting performers who are going to perform those characters. The catch is they have no idea what I've written, and they're not going to find out until I'm reading it to you, the audience. So how exciting is that? Very. So who's on the show tonight? Let's take a look. We've got Teresa Nutter, Jess Snow, and Derrick Hackett. 3 very funny, talented people. If there's one thing that you could take away from the show, you're to say those are 3 very funny and talented people. And I want you to keep that with you, at least for the next week. Maybe, the rest of your life, but at the very least for the next week. So that's who's going to be on the show. If you would like to participate in the show, you can, if you go into the chat window in Zoom, not the Q&A, use the chat function. Type your questions in there, and I might read one out loud as to the guest. So it's like you are taking my role, but I'm still going to be on screen, and I'm still going to be saying the stuff. But you'll know that you wrote it. Sound good? Great. And as always, before we start the show, here are today's headlines.
Good evening. I'm Neil Bardhan. It's 55 degrees in South Philly. Perfect weather to sit inside and stare at a screen. In case you missed it, a huge boat, which some call a ship, got stuck in the Suez Canal after winds and possible human error. The Ever Given, also known confusingly as the Evergreen, blocked worldwide trade for a week and led to numerous memes, analyses, and general pontification on maritime logistics. Unsurprisingly to no one, everybody on Twitter quickly became an expert in a field they'd never thought about before this year, and the professionals were horrified at how millions of dorks couldn't understand the complexity of the situation. The situation resolved by the only group that has the power to change the world. A crack team of macho guys who get paid to do one final job. Elsewhere in news of colonialism, last night the world lost England's Prince Philip, husband of Queen Elizabeth II, himself the Duke of Edinburgh, formerly known as Prince Philip of Greece and Denmark, also known as the Admiral of the Fleet of the Royal Australian Navy, the Honorary Colonel of the Trinidad and Tobago Regiment, member of the Grand Cross of the Order of Iceland's Falcon, member of the Order of the British Columbia Dogwood, member of Order of the Redeemer, commander of the Most Excellent Order of the Golden Ark, wearer of the Royal Victorian Chain, and Blue Dragon of the Order of Sports Merit. Anyway, he's dead now. Finally, in sports news, Major League Baseball has moved the All-Star Game out of Atlanta after Georgia passed a law that will restrict voting rights. Commissioner Rob Manfred noted that the organization supports voting rights for all and reminded fans that, quote, thanks to a court decision 100 years ago, baseball is weirdly governed by the federal government, so yeah, voting matters more to the All-Star Game than you might think. Wow. Wild. That's it for POI News. Good night. The New Yorker supports people of interest. Oh, sorry. It actually says here, a New Yorker supports people of interest. So it's probably not the magazine, but just some random New Yorker. Ooh, maybe it's Jennifer Lopez. Or Spider-Man. How cool would that be?
As the world is slowly preparing to return to a pre-pandemic lifestyle, people are beginning to worry that after a year of working at home, dining at home, and just generally being at home, they have forgotten completely how to act in public. That's why so many people are turning to my next guest, acting coach Lee Sanford. Sanford has developed a new acting masterclass designed to teach people how to act like a normal human being around other human beings again. From how to talk to another person in person, how to wear clothes that aren't pajamas, and how to hold in farts, Sanford's class is a rigorous study in returning to normal human behavior that people have been naturally performing for years. Sanford joins us here tonight to discuss the class, why it's so important, and to provide us all with a few tips for being a normal human again. Lee Sanford, welcome.
Hello, thank you so much.
I got to say, when I saw this news, I was very excited myself. I've been working from home, doing the show from home. I'm personally very worried about going back to being a normal person again. Where did you get this idea, though? I'm curious. Like, how did you have this stroke of genius?
Well, I was sitting in my basement, alone, very insular, realizing I've forgotten to do my laundry. And I've forgotten to do my laundry for months. And realized that other people might be forgotten to do laundry. And I went outside and I yelled, "Is anyone listening to me?" And slowly in the distance, someone yelled, "I am." And then I realized maybe that person forgot how to do laundry as well. And it just expanded into maybe people forgot to wear pants. Maybe people forgot how to talk to each other. So on and so forth.
So, you have just a storied, acting background. You've studied, all the major techniques. What are some of the acting, principles and where have you drawn inspiration for building this curriculum?
Oh, such a good question. Oh, I hate to sound trite, but it's from the everyday person. The world is a stage and we're merely players on it. And I take my inspiration from the man yelling at the woman on the street because she wouldn't give him change. I take inspiration from the cat meowing constantly. And I realize all of that is acting. And I knew that together, we act together, we can all be together. So I just decided, why don't I just remind people? And the time spent on stage, all I always channel is another person. That's really all it is.
So you've been workshopping this. How did some of those workshops go? What are kind of the initial sort of building to this course?
Well, I first started just on my block. I figured start small and go bigger. And so I just sat outside one day and just started talking to my neighbors. And I found that through that, I was able to expand more and more. And so I took my neighbors on a socially distanced walk to the subway to see if we remembered how to tap our cards to get onto the subway. We were a little scared at first. We weren't sure if we could get through, but we did it together. And then we went down and waited on the subway. And to my surprise, people knew how to get on to the actual train. Oh, it was incredible. And so then I expanded even further. And I thought, well, what about the grocery store? Do people remember how to behave in a grocery store? And they did, and I just kept expanding from there and there and there to now what I have the program now, and quite literally putting pants one foot at a time.
I guess speaking of pants, what was I think a lot of us have struggled getting pants back on. What's sort of what are some of the hardest things, the hardest challenges coming back and sort of relearning and learning how to act in that way?
Buttons. Buttons are terribly difficult, and having not used them in almost, if not more than a year, your hands forget the memory. The muscle memory isn't there, so you have to relearn that. And that's what it is. It's just relearning everything. But through patience and practice, we're able to do it. But yes, buttons. Buttons are the hardest thing about the pants, and really the buttons inside of us. having to relearn who we are as people, to relearn compassion, and to relearn that there are other people out there that are experiencing the same ideas and thoughts and feelings as you.
So we have a question from the audience, and people are wondering, it sounds like you're doing this live in some cases. Are people showing up in their pajamas or without pants or nude or in their underpants or?
Well, I have a disclaimer that say pants are required because my first workshopping incident, a lot of no pants, a lot of Winnie the Pooh type folks looking, and I realized I have to guide them. I'm a teacher after all. I have to teach and I have to guide. And I found with that disclaimer, people did show up in their sweatpants, which is okay. But as long as you guide them and say, bring one pair of pants, zipper, button, doesn't matter, but bring a pair of pants that don't have an elastic band on them. And I got a lot of emails from people asking, what if they don't fit me anymore? And I said, that's okay, because we're not putting them on, we're just zipping and buttoning them up, because you have to start small. You can't do a Shakespearean play without understanding the nuanced words first.
Is this, would you say that, I think some people are from what I've read in just some of the reviews, people are like, is this just acting? Like, am I not actually becoming a person again? Am I just kind of putting on a facade? All the world's a stage. We're all just merely players kind of a thing.
Well, to that I'd say all actors find a piece of themselves in a character, right? You have to do that. You have to find a piece of yourself and expand that. That's what acting is. And so, yes, there is some fourth wall separation from the stage to the actor. But in order for you to succeed in acting, you have to feel something. And that's you feeling it. It's not a separate person feeling it. So although it might seem performative, putting on a pair of pants, it is you who's actually putting on the pants. It is you who is actually having the conversation. It is you learning what to say again. And eventually those two people, the actor and the person inside, will meet.
That's really, yeah. I mean, that's such a sort of a touching sentiment of just, that synthesis of everything. I know you do have some detractors, which, there have been people saying, people will just relearn this. You don't need to charge them money to relearn how to have a conversation with your boss at work or how to, not sneeze just wildly into the air without covering your mouth. What do you say to people who, with that criticism?
There's always going to be negative Nellies in the world, and there's what they say, the haters are going to hate. And that's true, and they can feel that way. But from my experience, I've seen that people need to be taught. If I've forgotten how to hold my nose when I sneeze because I've been at home for a year, so I can sneeze into the abyss because it's my own abyss, so have other people. And so it's just a gentle push, and I'm only charging a nominal fee, so I don't really see any problem with it.
I mean, according to your website, your nominal fee is $399.
Correct. It's very nominal in the grand scheme of things. If you take $3.99 and you divide it by a lifetime, it really only comes down to maybe $1.99 a day.
Not sure if it seems like that might be a short life. It might be only 300 days. I don't
Or a penny
anyway,
a day. It's just a nominal fee.
Sure. So kind of piggybacking off of this, like, who is your typical clientele? Who do you normally see in these classes?
Well, that's an excellent question. In the beginning, it was definitely more varied. It had a very robust group of people, but now I'm starting to find that it's a middle-aged male market mostly of older caliber of people. But I'm still hopeful, marketing is everything. But yes, I'd say the middle-aged man is kind of the market I'm at right
now. Do you tailor the classes to sort of who's in the class? Do you kind of adapt depending on your class?
Every good teacher should, and I do within reason, of course. But I'd say in the beginning, like before, it was very broad, and as the class changed and evolved, so did my techniques. But like I said, any good teacher knows how to adapt and really be there for their students and dig inside and find something in them to bring them out.
Well, are there any specific challenges that sort of older middle-aged men have that are specific to just that sort of subset?
Just kind of saying whatever they want. Just whenever they have a thought in their head about anything at all, they think they can just say it, and realizing that words have meaning behind them and they matter, things like that. And also farting, lots of farting. I have to remind them that incorrect setting can be very funny, but not all the time. And saying whomever smelt it dealt it is not the way to solve that problem.
And I historically, I don't think that's really all that accurate in terms of determining who actually farted.
I agree completely, and that's what I tried to teach them.
I suppose I'm sort of a younger middle-aged or approaching middle-aged myself. What are your techniques for holding in farts?
Well, first, you can do just the basic mental squeeze where you just button up. I call it the wasp move. You just tighten up, and then you can excuse yourself. You can run to the bathroom, or you can go into a different room. Or if worst case scenario, you can also just pop a balloon if you have one on handy, especially if you're at a party when those happen. But typically it's hold it together, or go into another room, or go to the bathroom, just like one would normally do before these times.
That's solid advice. We're just about out of time. Do you want to just kind of give your elevator pitch to anybody who's watching at home, of why they should take your class?
Sure. We've been in solitude for too long. We've forgotten how to be humans. And through the simple charms of acting, I can teach you how to be human again. It's simple, it's easy, and we can do it together.
Well, that's just inspiring stuff. And I look forward to seeing your students out in the real world and interacting with them again, as normal people. Lee Sanford, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
The Suez Canal supports people of interest and reminds you that there's still no better way to get from the Atlantic Ocean to the Indian Ocean. Go around the Cape of Good Hope? You're mad! The Flying Dutchman sails those waters. You might as well just dump all your spices and your crew into the ocean right now and save the Dutchman the trouble.
On February 1st, 2021, social media star Leah Hagen tweeted out to her 8 million followers, "When we're all vaccinated, I'm going to hug each and every one of you, so get your shot when you can." While many celebrated her endorsement of vaccines, others called into question the logistics of how Hagen is going to be able to hug all of those people. This week, to answer her critics, Hagen has released the first draft of what she's calling Project Hug, a multi-million-dollar project that provides the necessary infrastructure for Hagen to hug millions of people over the span of about 6 months. The plan itself is a feat of brilliant hug engineering, but much like her initial plan, her initial tweet, it's received a lot of pushback, especially for its use of surrogate huggers in less densely populated rural areas, and her requirement that everyone receiving a hug be vaccinated. There's also charges that this is all a publicity stunt, that due to the possibility that many Americans are not planning to get vaccinated at all, Hagen will never have to hug anyone since not everyone will be vaccinated. Hagen herself joins us here remotely tonight at the site of one of her hug stations she's building, and she's going to explain her plan to us and refute her critics. Leah Hagen, welcome.
I can't wait to hug you!
I can't wait to hug you too. Big fan. I have to say, this whole project, I didn't know that you were, when I saw it, I said, "Oh, that's a fun thing." But reading your
serious, you didn't think I was serious. No one thought I was serious. You didn't believe in me. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I love you anyway. Hi.
Love you too. So where are you now? I know you're actually doing the work now. From what I've heard, you are somewhere.
Yeah. I wish you could all see me and everything. I wish I could be like one of those little picture boxes, but I am out in the world right now. I'm actually right by the King of Prussia Mall. We set up one of the stations. So I'm just, working out logistics, getting in and out of the hug suit, looking at the spreadsheets. It's a very complicated endeavor.
What inspired you?
Ryan?
I know everybody wants a hug again, but what made you say, you know what, I'm gonna hug everybody?
Ryan.
Leah, you still there? Leah, we got you? All right, everyone hang tight for a second. We're just, reception's a little lousy where Leah is. We're gonna just get her back on the line. Just give us 1 second. Okay. Leah, thank you so much for getting to a place with us. I'm so sorry we were having these issues.
Hopefully this will work. I'm in a hotel on 202. I can't wait to hug you.
Great. I can't wait to hug you too. I don't think we've never actually hugged, so it'll be an adventure of hugging for the first time. So, what was your first? You know what? I want to hug everybody. What was that first moment? You're like, you know what? This has been rough. I want to hug everybody.
I'm gonna have to be honest with you, Ryan. I wasn't really exactly serious. Like, I didn't think I was actually going to end up hugging everybody when I first tweeted it and stuff. I was just like, I want to hug everybody, and I meant everybody at my Trader Joe's and everybody at my Starbucks and everybody in my neighborhood, but not everybody in my neighborhood, but it's turned into everyone, and I'm into it.
It's just it's a really great thing. I think a lot of people are getting really excited about it. I think a lot of people, there's definitely been tons of people who are using the hashtag, showing their I'm ready to hug Leah Hagen, and they've got their card holding up.
We've got so much new merch coming out. It's going to be amazing.
Oh, what are some of the things that you can buy? Sort of. Do you have to get them?
There's a koozie. There's a koozie that looks like it's hugging your drink. And it has my pigtails, from Twitter.
Right.
And there's sweatshirts and everything with the hashtag. Sweatpants, of course, because it's what we've all been wearing for a year. Right. Good stuff.
So tell me a bit about this plan. It's super super in depth. How did you develop it? Do you have a team, or you just kind of started working on it yourself? How did it work?
Well, I kind of just like a lot of things start in just the first Excel spreadsheet, and that grows to another spreadsheet, and that grows, and that grows, and then somebody's like, well, we should be using this, and now there are people on it in, like, cities I've never even been to. And then we started getting, as you mentioned, the surrogate huggers. So they're all over the place, and they've got their own spreadsheets. It's kind of become, like a Coca-Cola, like a hands around the world kind of thing. But it's hugs, Ryan.
Well, yeah, and it's super exciting. But do you feel you're disappointing fans by if they're coming out to a hug location and they're not going to hug you, they're going to hug one of your surrogates?
No, that's kind of. I don't want to sound like all like hippy dippy or something, because that is not me. But something that I've kind of grown to see over the last year, that we've all kind of seen, being so enclosed in our own little worlds, is that, like, we're all so similar, and we're all going through, like, the same kinds of things right now. Like, really, you're like, what, 40? How many people have you hugged? They're not that different, right? Like, hugging me and hugging my mom or my cousin or this guy Bob that just signed up in Utah, like, it's all pretty much the same. And if you go into it with that attitude, and you go into it like, I'm hugging the world, not just Leah, not just, anyone in particular, it's a hug that we're all going to feel at the same time, and we're all going to kind of put our own spin on, which will be sort of the whole world's spin. As the world's, this just gets more beautiful every day.
It is. It's really touching. Getting back to that point, and I think it's just a really wonderful program. You have had some pushback from I know Governor Ron DeSantis in Florida is very adamant that this having to prove that you're vaccinated to get a hug, pushing back on that. I know you've got a couple other people. How do you respond to those critics?
Thank you. First, I don't want to be a stickler or anything, but I ask that you don't call this event, this movement, a program. I'm not in anybody's pocket. I don't like talking to governors, I'm just me. I'm just Leah. I just like my friends and hugging. And so it really hurts that people would immediately decide that I've wanted to somehow force people to get vaccinated, or force people to say that they've been vaccinated, or find out who's been vaccinated so that I don't go near anybody who's going to get me killed. That's not what I'm doing here. I'm just celebrating the people who should be celebrated, and I'm getting used by people who want to know who's vaccinated, people who are pushing their passport agenda. That is not me. I'm not part of that.
I mean, it's. I guess everything sort of gets co-opted these days. But it seems like you're staying positive. You're not letting it weigh you down. So, have you been working on hugs? Do you have are you kind of like, you've been sort of practicing at home, like maybe like a punching bag or something to kind of like get yourself into hugging shape?
Everyone is always hugging. Let's just get that out of the way right away. There's no such thing as a summer body. If it's the summer and you have a body, that's your summer body. There's no such thing as being in hugging shape. If you can hug and you have a shape, that is your hugging shape. So I've tried to mostly practice on humans. I have a very, very small pod available to me right now, but it's expanding all the time. And that's going to be the beauty of the next year, or however long this takes.
Yeah, I was a bit curious. Your timeline seemed a little open ended. Um, are you hoping maybe 6 months, year? What you have current estimates maybe?
Um, well, the mathematicians are saying it's going to take a little bit longer than maybe we had thought. But we're getting surrogates in all the time, and we're still trying not to have a whole bunch of hugs happening at the exact same moment.
Hmm.
Because we want there to be like the one hug that's felt around the world. So it's going to kind of be a lot of really good stage managers, basically. A lot of people on the top of their game, just being like, all right, Milwaukee, hug. LA, hug. San Francisco, hug. Guam, hug. Wherever you are.
Right.
Like, who's up next, so that we have each hug happen separately, get its own piece of the universal hug, but we try to get this all done before next summer.
Right. Well, a lot of people are some people are optimistic that we could be, at herd immunity by October. Others are a lot less optimistic. What is the threshold for this project to start? At what point do you say, yeah, okay, we're ready to start hugging?
Well, NPR has a really great graphic from the CDC on the bottom of their COVID site, where you
Hmm.
can see where your state falls. Right now, like New York is supposed to get to 75% first. My state of Pennsylvania is not too far away. Then you get all the way down to like Alabama and Puerto Rico that are going to take forever, like maybe into 2022. But the numbers keep moving forward. It was a couple weeks ago they said it would be Halloween in Pennsylvania. Now Labor Day. It might even move up more quickly. Philadelphia has a new site opening up this weekend in Hunting Park. So I I am ready to start hugging. And we have so much of the logistics work out. We have all of my suits. We have all of that merch coming in so soon. So I am pretty excited to say that we are going to be hugging by May.
Oh wow. Wow, that is an aggressive timeline. I mean, it's just right around the corner. Um,
Mm-hmm.
are you? We have a question from the audience. We know that you have a lot of sort of famous followers. Is there anyone you're looking forward to hugging? Are there any celebrity friends?
Well, some people are better huggers than others sometimes. I tried not to let that be a big part of my pitch. I say we all pretty much the same. Um, but I do have a couple. I'm really looking forward to hugging a couple of people from a soccer camp that I went to when I was 11. They live in
Mhm.
upstate New York. Their names are Jenny and Freddie, and we were inseparable one summer. So they're coming down to PA for hugs. But I am also looking forward to the obvious. I'm looking forward to hugging Jenny Slate and Tay Tay and hopefully Little Nas X. I don't know. Some people, I send them a message, and it's an iffy situation because I think that people wonder if I'm just trying to find out if they're getting vaccinated, and
Hmm.
earworms have put that in people's heads that I'm some kind of spy that's going around to figure out if people will be vaccinated, like big insurance is paying me, or their jobs, or Miramax or something. But this is all just for the beauty of hugging. And if I get
Okay.
to,
Well,
hug Taylor Swift during it, like, yay!
that sounds like a lot of fun. We're just about out of time. Do you sort of make a final pitch for everybody who's maybe on the fence of coming to one of your hug centers?
I'm sure you all know my Twitter, so just make sure you're following there. All of the plans will go up there. Please, whether or not you get vaccinated is your own choice, but have a hug. And you really shouldn't be hugging if you're not vaccinated. So fill out the form. It's on my Twitter. And hug as soon as you can. Hug everyone.
Leah Hagen, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Ryan. I'm coming for you. I'm going to hug you myself.
I'm looking forward to it.
Levi Strauss and company support People of Interest. And guess what? Host Ryan T. Barlow is wearing jeans right now. You can't tell because we only show him from the waist up. In fact, he's been wearing them through the whole pandemic. Wait, instead of sweatpants? Ryan, what is wrong with you?
You'd be forgiven if you thought mad scientists were running all of the major food manufacturers these days. It's getting increasingly difficult to find original flavors of your favorite snacks. Instead, there are potato chips flavored to taste like Philly cheesesteaks, Pop-Tarts topped with Fruit Loops, and Pepsis combined with Peeps marshmallow candies. While reactions for these chimeric snacks range from intrigued to completely grossed out, most everyone is wondering, why so many drastic flavor mixtures? Well, according to my next guest, mad scientists are running all the major food manufacturers in the world today, and they've been spending the last 2 decades infiltrating them and taking them over. George Stewart, who until recently was a mad food scientist in his own right, who actually worked on the Swedish fish Oreos, decided he had to come forward after Oreo released a new Lady Gaga-inspired Oreos that actually taste like the pop singer herself. Now Stewart is spilling the details on the secret, devious plans of these organizations to push the boundaries of human taste. George Stewart, welcome.
Hello, how are you? Now, my face is blurred out and my voice is mixed, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
sure.
cool. Because, coming forward and whistleblowing the way I am, I'm putting myself and my family in danger. So thank you for doing that, for keeping me safe.
Yeah, yep, no problem.
Cool.
So yeah, I shocked. I mean, I always suspected like, oh, who are all these, these wacky flavors? Why do I want Oreos that taste like fruit punch? And here we are, this actual mad scientist. Like, I couldn't believe it. Where did this all start?
It started with James Conwell. He's a scientist who invented the turducken, if you're familiar with that. It's turkey stuffed with a duck, stuffed with tofu. And then it just sort of became a mad race to sort of make the next big thing. And then the big corporations got in, like Pepsi and M&M Mars, and then it's complete chaos.
Right. It seems, it seemed like it started off kind of simply enough, like, oh, hey, let's try Oreos that are sort of all vanilla or all chocolate. Who was like, okay, you know what, let's do let's really amp it up. And what was your role in that?
Well, here's the thing. Unlike the music industry or television, everyone's trying to find the next big thing, and that doesn't end with food. After a while, we get sick of Coke. We get sick of Pepsi. Then it needs to be new Coke. Then it needs to be clear Pepsi. Everyone needs that next big thing to sort of get the ball rolling. And eventually, people are just throwing proverbial shit at the wall, not actual shit, to see what sticks. Right. And sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't.
So you yourself, you did Swedish fish Oreos, Captain Crunch blueberry pancake mix.
Thank you. Yes.
Are you now that you've come to this point where you've decided, look, this has gone too far. Do you feel that you're somewhat culpable for this? Do you regret doing these things, or are you sort of proud of your previous creations?
It's such a mixed bag because I am proud. Those were huge hits for me. But then you see what happens when people follow suit and they sort of get corrupted in that sort of cycle of doing what you're doing. And you kind of like, I started this and now I need to end it. I know I created the monster. Now I need to kill it in a way.
Right. So what was that moment when you were like, this has gone too far? I know that you said, the Lady Gaga Oreo. How did they even get? What does Lady Gaga even taste like? I suppose
that's the scientific process of sort of capturing Lady Gaga is it's swabbing various parts of her body and then chemically trying to recreate that, because we can't use Lady Gaga herself to make cookies. That would be ridiculous. So it's putting chemicals at first that are edible, just trying different flavors, vanilla, cayenne pepper, whatever, to get that flavor. But then you have to go outside of the food chain to try to replicate the taste of Lady Gaga. And that's when, kids start developing, a third eye, not exactly, but you know what I mean. And then it's like, oh crap, we can't put the genie back in the bottle now. It's too late.
Yeah. So, I mean, now, Lady Gaga, like what's next? What are their other plans? I know you've listed some of them, but like other celebrities?
It's whoever's hot right now. Unfortunately, in the age of Instagram and TikTok, I'm going to, people now have to go to some random kid's house in Pasadena to swab him for flavors. And it's like, when we know where it started, but where does it end? It's getting ridiculous.
Right. So, one of the concerns that I think a lot of people have is that, are children going to develop a taste for humans and want to start eating actual people?
Yeah.
Oh, they are. Oh,
I am blurred, right? Just to clarify.
Yeah. So super blurred.
Yeah, it happens. It happens because we have to test this stuff. We bring people in, and next thing you know, we're bringing in children, we're bringing in adults. Next thing you know, a kid that's in our test room, he loves the cookie. Next thing you know, he's on the playground, he's biting his classmates, trying to replicate some cookie that's not even out yet. Oh,
and you all just released it anyway.
I did it. I was against it. I said, don't. We cannot put this out here. We cannot put this out in the world. This is a whole, almost like a Soylent Green situation we're creating here in a way. It's not people per se, but it tastes like people. And yeah, it gets my best wishes. They put it out there, and that's why I had to blow the whistle. Now I'm thankfully I'm wearing a mask in public because of the pandemic, so I'm harder to recognize, but I'm looking over my shoulder. I'm checking out my window all the time because there could be agents from Pepsi or Coca-Cola outside my house.
What do you think they might do to you?
I don't know, but if you see a cereal box with my face on it, it's too late.
Yeah, there was I think I saw a cereal box with TI on it the other day.
Yeah.
But he was guesting in everything for a while, so I think it makes sense.
Yeah, and then just trying to replicate, and yes, it's a whole thing, and I'm glad I'm out of it. But now I want my life back, but the people who started this need to pay.
Yeah. So what do you think? What do you think? What would be sort of just not revenge, but how do you think they could atone for this?
I think one way is they need to remember that like Oreos are good on their own. When did we forget that? When did we forget that Oreos were a great cookie? When did we forget that Coke was fine just the way it was? I think these companies sort of need to find a way to just be themselves in a way. And I don't know how to bring that out of them to remind them that, hey, these are good. We don't need to chase these trends. Let's just go back to basics.
Sure, but they could pay some sort of penalty.
And penalty and lawsuits and class actions and whatnot. And, CEOs and executives going to jail.
Yeah, that would be.
And then hopefully, and then they'll find themselves in jail or something.
Now, I have, in doing research for this piece, there are other people who aren't as brave as you, who are just kind of posting anonymously. But there has been some talk that with creating these tastes of different people, and then sort of moving on to other things, that some of these mad scientists are actually trying to recreate what God tastes like, which would, I assume, undo the universe. Is there any truth to that?
Yes. Remember that scene in Indiana Jones where they open the Ark or whatever, and everyone's faces melt? I imagine that if they create the God Oreo and you break it open, everyone, that's it. Humanity, existence, everything will cease to exist.
Well, I mean, there's some argument that some of these flavors don't actually taste like the things they're supposed to taste like. But do you think that they're getting to the point where they could successfully recreate whatever God tastes like?
This is when science sort of goes haywire. We can't try to recreate God in flavor, and if we do reach that, it's the end of us. But then trying to figure out what is God exactly, it's going to various churches and synagogues, tasting pages of Bibles and whatnot, licking nuns to see what flavor you get from that. God is everything and everywhere. I have cups and things around me. Do I taste that to get to this God flavor? Do I put you and me into this big mixture pot and stir it up to create God himself? Do we have to go to the outer spaces and grab pieces of the moon and Mars and then throw that into the pot? It's a lot. I hope we never achieve it.
Do you think there's a market for it, though?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Who do you think would be sort of
like a cartoon character of God, crudely drawn, or like I like what KFC does, where they just have a different person play the Colonel Sanders. So just different people play God during the ad campaigns. Give it to Whoopi Goldberg at first, and then like Will Ferrell or Michael Richards. He's not doing anything.
Right. Oh.
Yeah.
So I guess, we have a question from the audience. They're wondering, do you think that more atheists would try to eat God, or more, Christians? Or is it, or is he sort of saying a little more agnostic, where it's just sort of the God of Abraham, Jewish people, Muslims could all sort of find that taste?
I could see some spiteful atheist YouTuber holding up nothing and being like, I'm eating God, or something like that. Doing various feats of miracles to see if the cookie could float on water or create life itself. Some people thought that there's a lot of confusion when it comes to like communion in church, that they're eating, God, and they're drinking his blood. We have nothing to do with any of that. That's just wine and crackers. So rest assured, that's fine. We're not at that point.
Right. I mean, it seems like that's actually, it could be a market. I mean, if you had the communion wafer and you made it taste like God, that's a little more authentic.
Yeah.
I probably shouldn't be encouraging this. I'm sorry.
Please don't. I'm almost certain. Hi, Pepsi. They're watching now. So, but they can't see me, so it's no problem at all.
Oh, I just got word from our tech that your face is not blurred.
I'm sorry.
Apparently, there was a mix-up. We're having some technical issues today.
Okay.
So,
all right. Great.
Is there anything you'd like to say? I mean, we found you. I'm sure Frito-Lay can find you.
Yeah. Okay.
No offense.
Yeah. If they're watching, Pepsi, you did this. I didn't do this. Okay. This is on you. So you can try to throw me in the bus as much as you want, but we know who the real culprit here, and I'm going to speak my truth and tell my truth, even if I have to go to Russia and live remotely, and you can't extradite me for this. So try to come and get me. I'll be in Russia before you even make it to my house.
Wait, did I just hear? Is there something behind you? Sorry, did I just?
Did you see something?
I thought I did. Are you? If you have to go, that's totally cool.
Okay.
Unless you have some final words or anything.
Yes.
Sorry.
Please tell my mother I love her.
Your mother's not
That's
watching tonight?
No, I don't think so. But if you can find her as easy as you found me, that'd be great. Just tell her I love her.
Okay.
I have a whole possession of things. If anyone wants my Funko Pop collection, I'll just look for a will in my corpse somewhere in an orifice. That's it.
Sorry. Best of luck out there. George Stewart, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Hey, that was the show. Thank you so much for being here, everybody. You're the real heroes. Nah, we're probably the real heroes in this scenario. You're the real heroes in other scenarios, but right now we're the real heroes. So, but that's not, be a hero tomorrow, wherever you want. Anyway, let's bring out everybody, the guests who are so amazing. We turned on all the mics so everyone can hear. That's live. That's live, coming from all of the people watching. Millions and millions. Millions of people are watching right now. Yeah, thank you guys so much for being here. Hey, Teresa, what do you got going on? You got anything you want to promote?
I actually do. I'm so excited. On May 22nd, at the Laurel Hill Cemetery, I'm in a show called When Shakespeare's Ladies Meet with Casa Buena Cultural Productions. It's going to be outside at the cemetery. It's a small cast. There's only like 5 of us, and you can socially distance. And I'm really excited. And donate to your local theaters if you're able to, because they're starting to get back on their feet, and you really need some help right now. So that's it.
Can I ask which Shakespeare lady you are?
I'm Catherine from Taming of the Shrew.
Oh, fun.
Thank you.
Jess, thank you so much for being such a trooper and getting it done. You got it done tonight. We made it happen.
I'm sorry it was difficult. I
it's good.
Did When Shakespeare's Ladies Meet at Plays and Players in 2005. I was Ophelia, and I love that show, so I'm coming out. But I mentioned it also because Plays and Players has some cool stuff coming up. And Chris Davis has some they're Chris Davis shows. He writes his own one-man shows, but other people doing them. And the first one's Border Late with Keith Con Allen doing it, coming up soon. So everyone should find that. I'm doing some podcasts soon, and I don't have dates and things, but jessysnow.com is coming back on 4/20. It's just a random date I picked. And so you can go to jessysnow.com again. You could go right now and be like GoDaddy or somebody, but it will be real again on February 20th or April 20th, so you can find out what's happening.
And I should just mention that if you see Jess on the street, you don't hug her. Just don't be like, I saw you on the show, I'll give her a hug. Just ask.
You could ask.
Talk to her,
I'm
start a conversation.
Amenable. Yeah.
Right.
Say hi.
Don't just do it. Don't just do it. Ask first. Yeah. And then she'll know that you saw the show. Derrick, what's up? What's going on out in LA? West Coast.
Yeah. Right now, everything's a big question mark. So I don't have anything. So I will promote vaccines, get them, so that I will have stuff in the future to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's yes. It was a theme. It was a theme in the show because we want you to all get vaccines. And Neil is just a photo of Neil, but
hi, Neil.
If he were here, yes, we always do the waving Neil, so everyone feels it's much more welcoming as Neil. But if Neil were here, he'd tell you that he and I have a show this Sunday called My Dinner with Ryan Neil, PT Bardhan. And you can look us up on Facebook and just start typing My Dinner with Ryan, and it'll fill out the rest because it's hard to spell. We backed ourselves into the name of the show. But he and I have dinner with a special guest every week. And so this week it's Kaylani Holmes. I I did not practice pronouncing her name, so I better do that this Sunday. But she's a host for shows on WHYY here in Philly and has quite a few fun YouTube shows where she goes into the history of different foods. It's really great. She's going to be on the show. And there's going to be surprises. So check that out, too, if you're on Facebook. Thanks again, everybody. Woo!
Yeah. Happy year.
Yes. Thank you. Yes, it's been a whole year. Thanks to all of you. If you've seen every show, the next time I see you, get your punch card out and you'll get a free show. I'm not sure how to do comps yet, but maybe I'll just send you $5. Who knows? Anyway, as always, we need to thank TAT Communications. Right? I did it. TAT Communications is the one that makes this happen. They when we had some technical difficulties, they did so much work behind the scenes. You have no idea. It was amazing that we got this to work because they're pros. If you have any sort of presentation coming up and you want it to look as good as this and to flow as smoothly as this, give them a ring. So yeah, anyway, thank you again so much for being here. It's I had a fun time. I hope you had a fun time. And as always, and until I see you again, stay interesting. Good night.